Hi, Dave.
Hi, Gamze.
Um,
How are you?
Thank you. And you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's cold here. It's
Yeah.
just started to snow. It's
Wow,
the end
lovely.
of November in the
Yeah.
UK. Yeah, but at least winter's here after, overly warm summer.
Yeah, good. So you're lucky. We haven't seen snow in Istanbul for a long time. Okay, so thank you for your time today. I know that you're very skilled and experienced in team coaching, and so I'm happy to host you with the topic of how team coaching is a game-changing instrument for teams and what makes it more impactful compared to team facilitation and team building activities. What I experience in the market with my clients, sometimes it's not very easy to decide what the team really needs
Mm.
when you're looking both when you're part of a team or and when you are really negotiating what to buy from the market that would help the team. So today, so I hope that our conversation will help the audience to figure out what really team coaching is and when it is best to use and what makes it more effective. So the stage is yours.
Okay. Um, well, I find I've been involved in team development and team building, facilitation, training, leadership development, team coaching for over 25 years. And I would describe myself as a team coach for the last 12 years or so. I've been coaching since the late 1990s. Um, and I'm a partner like you with the AOEC for Switzerland and so train coaches as well as and offer a team coaching qualification programs as well.
Mhm.
So I love team coaching. I love everything to do with teams and I'm really trying to help leaders and managers to lead well, especially through leading teams well. And I think it's really I think it's really tough. And I think that some of the reasons why it's tough is because of the complexity in organizations, the demands on managers, the expectations of and the confusion about management versus leadership, the way that organizations are constructed, which are typically hierarchical rather than more fluid, but they're increasingly fluid, which is much more helpful. And I also think there's some misunderstandings about what team coaching really is versus other more traditional interventions. And all of those interventions, facilitation, team building, team development, as well as team coaching, are all legitimate and they're all helpful. The question is, when do people utilize them and are they aware of what they're really doing?
Mhm.
And I suppose the challenge is that coaching isn't a protected profession. So anyone can describe themselves as a coach. They may or may not be qualified by a recognized coaching institute. They can still sell their wares and they can still convince clients that what they're doing is whatever they describe it as. And lots of people are describing what they do as team coaching. And I can't think and for some, I can't think it's anywhere close to team coaching. And I think there's some people who would say they would do team development who might be more close to doing team coaching. It's just that they aren't jumping on the bandwagon of team coaching and doing it. So I think that one of the challenges for people engaging in buying team coaching services is really understanding what it is and also what they need.
Mhm.
And often the people buying them are often buying it for other people, and the people who are using them are typically the teams and the managers themselves, and the commissioners, the people buying it, often in people in organisation or HR or in other senior positions. So I hope we can help in some way in understanding and navigating some of that complexity.
Mhm. Thank you. Very well said. Very well said, Dave. Yeah. How would you
What do
like
you
to
think would
start?
be interesting for us to explore next?
Ah, yeah, actually, I know you have a great model. Maybe we can start with your model and get deeper into that.
Well, um, the model that I'm thinking of is a way that I is a model I've developed to help people to understand whether they are exactly what they are doing relative to the team.
Mm-hmm.
And this emerged from attending a pilot of a team coaching course where the terms mentoring, counseling, coaching, consultancy, team building, training, coaching were all used, and we all know those terms, but do we really understand them? You know, for instance, facilitation is a term that we often use, and I realized on this particular pilot that the term facilitation didn't meant different things to different people. And I've done a lot of facilitation, and I've also developed facilitators. And for me, it's very much a knowledge-free, content-free process. But for others, it's a version of training, which is where
Mm-hmm.
you have the
Mm-hmm.
knowledge that you're imparting. So the word facilitating was really confusing straight away. So I wanted to develop a model that actually replaced all of those and made them more available to people. Okay. So if I share my screen, I'll hopefully
Yeah,
take you through
please.
this. Yeah. So what we have here, if you can see that, Gamze, uh,
Mm-hmm.
is what I call the relational positions between coach and team. And we're looking at two types of ways of splitting the difference between the team. One is about knowledge, and the other is about power. So at all times when we're looking at this, we are deciding whether the coach or the team has more knowledge than the other, is using more knowledge than the other, and at any one time whether the coach or the team is using more power than the other. Okay, and so you can see it makes for a very traditional two by two model, and this is a dancer in the middle, which is about being fluid and fluent throughout this model, rather than sticking to things. But I've used it with when I'm developing team coaches, and I've also used it as a supervisor of team coaches, which I do.
Mm-hmm.
So here we have this is the coach is using more knowledge than the team, and at the top we have the team is using more knowledge than the coach. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is they're dealing with, whatever they're talking about at any one time, that's what's going on. Okay. And then on the left-hand side here we have the coach is using more power than the team, and on the right we have the team is using more power than the coach. And uh, that makes us have sort of four different approaches that we can explore. And these aren't limited to four, but this is a really helpful way of expanding your repertoire and your understanding about how at any one time um, when you're experiencing team coaching, or whether as a team coach you are doing team coaching, what's going on in the room. So uh, when the coach is using more knowledge and the coach is using more power, I'm calling that advising. And there are times when this is a necessary part of team coaching. So, for instance, if you're doing your contracting at the beginning, very often as the coach, you need to be using your knowledge and your power to set the team coaching up well.
Mm-hmm.
And in many ways, the team is reliant on you to give it some shape. So you're advising them on how that goes about. It is too often, though, for team coaches to get stuck in that advising, because it's very comforting to be knowledgeable
Mm-hmm.
and to feel like your knowledge is the most important thing that you have to offer. And it's
Mm-hmm.
also very easy to be powerful and to want to remain powerful and in control about what's going on in the room. So very often, team coaches get stuck in that, and it's coupled with often the case that teams themselves and team managers are expecting the services of a team coach because they offer knowledge and power. So it's very easy for both the team and and the team coach to get stuck in the advising position because that is the perceived place where value is created.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's limiting. It's limiting because it's really no different from, say, team building or team consultancy or some of these other interventions whereby the consultant is really driving the agenda, setting the agenda, has the content and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Another version of this is where you're bringing some kind of diagnostic, for instance. So the diagnostic is owned by the coach and is knowledgeable, and that gives the coach more knowledge about the
Mm-hmm.
team that the team doesn't yet know, uh,
Yes.
and uses that as a powerful intervention to
Especially
drive
when
that.
using tools.
When you're using any sort of tools and things like that, and diagnostic tools or questionnaires or things like that. So advising is a place that often people get stuck, and they don't. And the interesting thing is they don't realize there's other places to go, and that's where I think this model really helps. So those people who start to develop in their skills and let go of their power, let go of some of their control, will relinquish it and say, okay, so the team has the knowledge, and they'll move up to this more enabling. Often I would call this also facilitating, but I call it enabling because the coach is enabling the team to talk about the things they need to talk about. But
Mm-hmm.
the coach remains powerful, and they are likely to be asking the questions. They're likely to be structuring the process. They will be facilitating, in my view, what is going on. And very often, this is the next place that team coaches go, and they mature into this place. They are still in a very powerful position, and they're still driving and shaping things. So when the team invites the coach to set the agenda, or the coach sets the agenda, then this is where the coach is. um, and again, that can be it can be really powerful and really fulfilling for everyone. The coach feels like they've done added great value, and the team feel like they're getting their money's worth from the coach. But in many ways, it's not really team coaching. None of this is limited to team coaching. It fills into, this is facilitating. This could be team facilitating or team facilitation. Um, what really gets interesting when it comes to team coaching is when we move over to this right-hand side here. Um, the offering is the next one, whereby the team is more powerful. So in this case, this is the team is deciding what goes on in the room. All right, not the coach, but the team is deciding. So the
Mm-hmm.
team is setting its agenda. The coach is now a bit like one-to-one coaching, where the individual comes in and they set the topic. So here in the team, this is where the team is setting the topic and the agenda. In this place, then the coach is known to have more knowledge about certain things, so team dynamics, or they might have more insight about some psychology, or some awareness of systemic systems thinking or system dynamics or something like that. And so the team is using the coach as a resource on behalf of the team, and the team is deciding when to use that. So they might invite the coach, what would you say about this, or what would you suggest is what to do,
Mm-hmm.
or can you run us a session on such and such because you know about this and we don't, and so that's also a space. And then at the top right, we've got the last one, which is where I think on um, very experienced team coaching programs, diploma coaching, team coaching is really where they're trying to get you to, where you use yourself as the tool, essentially as the tool in the room. And this is where the team is using its full knowledge and it's using its full power. And then the question And I know this from my supervision of team coaches and actually my experience of coaching is what is going on in the room. What is the value added by the coach
Mhm.
in that?
Mhm.
Because they feel valueless because I'm not actually adding anything. I'm not guiding them in any way, and I'm not telling them anything. The guiding being the power and the telling being the knowledge. But this is actually where huge power is realized, and lots of people who are very experienced team coaches will relate to this, because as you're noticing the team, you can feel things, you can experience things, and you can share that back. So the reflecting is a sort of a mirror on the team, which
Mhm.
and you use that to inform the team of itself. So you reflect back what you're hearing, or what you're noticing, or what you're experiencing, or what you're feeling, and that enables the team to notice itself better. It's
Mhm.
not an easy process for the things I've already said, and often the team coach can feel like they want to inform the team of something when actually it should be a reflection, and the team
Yeah.
decides.
I think this
So
is one of the most challenging places for the coach as well. It needs some kind of experience, courage, really being present, the most skillful part that a coach needs to be.
And it's what stands out. It's what in terms of team coaching, it's what makes the team coaching much more transformational, because the team is in its is maturing. The team is maturing. It can hold itself,
Mm-hmm.
and the team coach brings something which the team in itself doesn't, or hasn't yet worked out how to do it for itself. There
Mm-hmm.
are ways of introducing it, um, things like empty chair techniques, or stakeholder sort of
Yeah.
reflective
Mm-hmm.
observational positions and things like that. But typically the team coach is going to be using this for the first time with the team, or helping the team to realize itself, and ways of working with itself.
Yeah. And I think what I would like to add here, it's then within this part, within this reflection space, the coaches enable teams to surface the underlying issues, such as missing trust or unresolved conflicts. Neither the team facilitation or team building, any other activity would bring out.
Yeah, so team facilitation will really focus on task. It won't do, it can do stuff on dynamics. Um, but it's typically choosing, and certainly over the advising is choosing what to do and what to share.
Mm-hmm.
The reflecting is the team is very much in the driving seat, and so
Mm-hmm.
it allows the team coach to notice what is, rather than what they think they should be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that is really enabling confident building, awareness raising, collaborative building for the team.
Yeah. And also, I think to my experience is it also trains, this experience trains the team to reflect themselves when they're at their own. That
Exactly.
they will not need any team coach after a while because they will be asking the questions to themselves.
Exactly.
They will have the capacity to look at themselves from a distance after a while. So it actually develops the team to learn how to reflect as a team, as a one single entity. I think this is very important in terms of VUCA. This is very to deal when going through difficult times. That's what the magic part of the team coaching comes.
Indeed. And I think that's what makes team coaching different from team building and things, which is around the complexity in organizations. And
Mm-hmm.
nobody has the answer. The answer needs to emerge through the process.
Mm-hmm.
Working with a team coach who might start at that knowledgeable, powerful position initially,
Mm-hmm.
needs to rapidly move into that reflecting space for the team coaching to really work
Yeah.
at a team coaching level, to advance from a consultancy or facilitation technique into a team coaching. So moving from team development or team facilitation to team coaching,
Yeah.
and it builds the sustainability rather than the dependency. And
Yeah,
team
exactly.
consultancy is typically wants dependency. Facilitation is a particular technique which a team would depend
Yeah,
on, and so the sustainability is what team coaching is trying to achieve at the end of the day.
yeah,
The team can continue without the team coach, just
yeah,
like any one-to-one coaching intervention should always be finite. It should always close at some particular point and leave the individual to continue on without the coach.
yeah,
Coaching isn't a permanent condition. It's a
yeah,
temporary
yeah,
and fluid
yeah.
one.
So it's amazing when to see the teams coached over time develop self-awareness, self-regulating stage, and they get the ability to manage their dynamics autonomously after a while.
Yeah,
So this leads to a long-term resilience and eventually performance. Yeah, I think what I also find it magical that the system is involved in the reflective space. And all of a sudden you see the team culture is there, the team's interactions, usual interactions are observed in that space, and the interpersonal relationships, the ghost elements that are not seen, but they are there. Their impact is there in the
felt.
room.
Yeah,
The
they're felt.
holistic perspective, I think, leads to more integrated and better solutions. What do you think about
Yes.
that?
Well, for sure, I think that, and the other part that team coaching can bring, systemic team coaching in particular, is a greater awareness of the broader aspects of teaming within organizations. And I've been fascinated by this for years, so much so that I wrote a book which challenged some elements of the traditional ways of thinking about teams. So very briefly, there's sort of three ways that in my experience, people think about teams. One is a hierarchical structure where a team manager manages direct reports, and they call that a team. Whether it teams or not is sort of nobody's even thought about whether that team operates as a team or not. But they are called a team. And then and very often people realize there's something frustrating and something that isn't working in that, or that they recognize that the potential is not in the individuals, because the
Mm,
manager will typically deal with it as a hub and spoke, or the other one they will do is they will say me and the team, and they will separate themselves from the team. And actually, teaming is really about involving the leader has a role to play,
yeah.
a unique role to play in the team, not over the team. And
Mhm.
so we then move into a second perspective on teaming, which is around interdependence. And loads of books really talk about interdependence and say, if you want to get real teaming going, you generate interdependence, and that's typically through difference. People are having unique contributions to that team. They are reliant on each other, and that's the dependency within the team. And they have mutual accountability, and they have a common goal to achieve, and that glues them together, and it achieves something. And I've been in teams like that, and I've led teams like that, which are not enormously um, they are incredibly fulfilling places to be, because the sense of achievement, the sense of progress, and the sense of togetherness you have is
Mhm.
is really leaves you feeling it's a really great well-being.
Yeah.
Lots of hard work, but really great.
Yeah. When I see in the inquiry stage, what I find amazing is when I listen to the leader, and then when I listen to the team, the needs are sometimes there's a huge difference in the needs, and there's a huge difference in the perception. How were the challenges the team coach, so the team leader thinks the team has, and the challenges that the team really has. Sometimes it is not as complicated as the leader thinks. Sometimes it's more complicated than the leader thinks, because I think what is missing. So it is also important this reflective space and team coaching intervention helps the to I think to converge the understanding of where the team is at that moment, here and now.
And so I think I very much believe in the collective effort, and that
Yeah.
convergence I think is really key. I think the third level I was going to talk about, the third perspective, is what I introduce in my book, which I call extra dependency. But it's
Mm-hmm.
essentially a team made up of people who do similar things but don't need each other to do it. And
Mm-hmm.
this is commonplace in organizations. And as partners within the AOEC, we recognize that we aren't dependent on each other. But as a global partner team, we benefit from each other. So what
Mm-hmm.
type of team is that? And that's what I think is an extra dependent team. And the AUEC is recognizing that global partner team as an extra dependent team.
Mm-hmm.
And what's powerful about it is recognizing it for what it is, which is we don't need to be dependent on each other, and recognize the convergence is around our mutual benefit from learning together. So
Mm-hmm.
your practice in Turkey and my practice in Switzerland, for instance, benefits from our exchange of knowledge and experience uh, um, and we as we exchange that, so we both improve our practices. And that goes on in teams, in organizations as well. Think of sales teams, think of teams that manage risk, or engineering teams, or there's loads of teams I have worked with, which is exactly this type of team, and they are not interdependent. And if you make them interdependent, they fail to fulfill the needs of the system.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
this is why that team coaching and this is why I wrote the book, was to help managers, leaders, and team coaches alike to appreciate that not everything needs to be interdependent. There are some dynamics which are equally as powerful, but 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 the way that they converge is different than most of the conventional books on interdependent teams is. This is
Mm-hmm.
about much more about using communities of practice and being a team within a wider system. It makes that team an extra dependent team. When you get it right, the strategic impact is huge, because it means that that team goes out, bleeds out, and affects most of the rest of the organization because the way it teams outside the
Yeah.
team. And it's called extra dependent, not because it is needs more dependency, it's because it's the teaming is outside the team, not interdependent, which is dependency inside the team. And so this is very much a systemic a way of appreciating teams in organizations. And as I said, I find extra dependent teams as well as interdependent teams in almost all organizations I've worked in, and recognize when people recognize them, be them leaders, be they HR people, or be they team coaches, you start to recognize actually there's other things going on here which I hadn't appreciated. I was coming in with with an assumption about what teamings are all about, but it does start to answer some of the systemic problems that a sole interdependency assumption causes.
Mm-hmm.
And so I find that really helpful.
Mm. Wonderful. And it's also, as we talk, I think that it's also the reflective space is sometimes a very heavy space. So it is very important to educate the teams before for the team coaching to be effective and to be its best. To educate the team that it's not like when it's team facilitation, it's like the energy is high, a lot of activities, a lot of thinking. But this is also sometimes getting into deeper feelings, getting into difficult conversations and really creating space. And it's important to educate them to allow themselves to be vulnerable and to learn from it.
And I very often I find teams, they know the issues, they know what they need to do, they have it within themselves,
Uh-huh.
and they're withholding that, or that they are being told to think differently about it. And I think if we work as team coaches, if we work with what's going on in the room, and we bring that out, and we open up those vulnerabilities, I think they start to learn, and we start to enable them to realize what is possible, and then we can add more information about why that is the case,
Hmm.
without trying to force them down a particular avenue.
Hmm. Yeah. Lovely. So I know there's a huge amount of topics to have. I know that you're very full and equipped with all those, and I know that but I'm also conscious about the time. And what I heard so far is that, you have a great model to really makes the user more aware of where are we now? Are we advising, enabling? Or supporting or the delegate reflecting space. I think that is good guidance for the team members or team leader or the HR, whoever the buyer is, to have a good assessment. Where are we really? Where the intervention do we really need? That was very useful. Thank you. And the team coaching is transformative because it brings sustainable change through enhanced self-management and self-awareness, and also the systemic approach we talked about. We talked about the importance of to um, be exist as an extra dependent teams to define what kind of a team we are. I think is also important, and it also brings clear alignment with goals within the team that and as they start reflecting, rather than visions, missions, values that are hanging on the posters on the walls, they become more you know concrete and more well and commonly defined. I think that's also important for the team to move on together. And the important we talked about on the deeper reflection, the importance of reflection in terms of bringing out underlying issues, trust problems, unresolved conflicts, and also it empowers the collective leadership. That they're defining the leadership again within the team for the benefit of the entire organization. And most probably this will bring a better decision-making process for them. So anything do you think I missed out
No,
before
the two things
summarizing?
I'd say is that models should be available on my website, and also I've got a team diagnostic which is available for free at the moment, to help teams understand whether
Wow.
they are an interdependent team or an extra dependent team, and you can get that on organizationalcoachinghub.com.
Wow, it's very generous of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Gamze.
I'll put it in the definition descriptions part of our channel as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
It's
So
been a pleasure. Thank you, Gamze.
yeah. So hope to talk to you for different topics.
We
And
will. We
I
will
hope you the
very
best.
soon.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
And you.
Thank you.
All the best. Cheers, Gamze.
Thank you.